Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is your host, Patricia from The Dialogue. I want to welcome you all to my new channel on YouTube. I'm really excited about the content that I'm going to start releasing. So stay tuned. I'm going to get into all of the juicy details as you listen up. So today, as you can see, I'm dressed a little bit more casual. I have on a t-shirt, not as made up. And so today, I'm calling today Flex Down Fridays. I know. And so with me starting this channel, I got up this morning and I was thinking, just even though I'm pressing forward in the things and the vision that God has given me, ultimately it is coming at a time when I find myself extremely exhausted. Okay, so I'm going to get more into that. I'm going to be sharing an authentic side of myself and my story so that you understand why I'm going to be calling today Flex Down Fridays. So yesterday I did a post or I did a video and it was just talking about mental clarity and it was giving you a warm welcome. So if you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I thank you to all who have already done so, who have been sharing it, as well as the comments that have been left in my feedback. Trust me, I do check them. I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know what you want to see on this channel. I just want to get to know you personally, even if we're not in the same city or state. So I just want to extend a warm welcome. As I stated before, my name is Patricia. I am a qualified mental health specialist. I am a case manager. I am a chemical dependency counselor. I'm an author. I just finished school with my bachelor's in psychology. Eventually will be returning back in the next couple months for my master's. So trust and believe when I talk to you from these viewpoints, I am more than qualified. However, I am going to be using a lot of the reference context coming from the Bible. And the reason being, which is not such of a grave explanation, okay, when I found myself going through different trying situations in my life, I utilized the Bible for pretty much everything I was going through. It helped me learn myself, see my purpose. It helped me through some very adverse trying situations. It gave me identity. It gave me hope and motivation. And so, of course, I want to share what I'm doing in my life to help you. Okay, yesterday I also detailed in my video how I had been through being molested, almost sex trafficked, going through many other adverse situations, trials, tribulations, issues with employment, managers, supervisors, financial difficulty. And I am telling you, I used the Bible to get me through everything that I was going through. There was not a consistent person that stayed with me through the whole 12 years. The same people that I was dealing with 12 years ago are not the same people that I'm dealing with now. And actually, as I'm embarking on this journey, I find myself in a very, I don't want to say isolation, but a time of consecration and solitude, okay, to start something new, which is not always bad, okay? So we're going to jump into all of that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, okay? You can also go over to the podcast and follow it. So if you hear me referring to the podcast right now, if you are listening on either platform, I'm double recording. So I'm on the YouTube channel and I'm also on the podcast, okay? But all the content is going to be the same. So today when I woke up, I felt, even though I went to sleep, I think I got a good amount of time as far as rest. It didn't feel like it when I woke up. I felt exhausted. And so I laid there for a minute. I spent some time with God. I got breakfast going, got my daughter together, on our normal routine. And I still felt exhausted. I'm like, wow, after a good breakfast, they say it's the most essential meal of the day. So it's supposed to give you your fuel. And I didn't drink coffee or anything, but I'm like, why do I still feel exhausted? And so I laid there, cried a little bit, kept praying, vented to God, let him know how I felt. Why do I feel like this? What's going on? Why do I just feel like I just got hit, or sat on by an elephant? I just felt depleted, completely depleted. But I said, oh, okay, this must be what God wants me to talk about today. So today we're going to be talking about mental exhaustion. Okay. And so what I've come to learn about mental exhaustion is that it can also replicate symptoms of feeling like you're burnt out. You would be amazed. It's not the same thing as a burnout. It's not the same thing as many things that we would consider a burnout. Okay. It's not the same thing. Mental exhaustion is a lot. Okay. So let me go ahead and describe exactly what it is. Okay. So, mental exhaustion is a feeling of extreme tiredness characterized by other feelings, including apathy, cynicism, and irritability. Um, it can come if you've undergone long-term stressful situations. And so, let me pause there. Burnout is not the same as mental exhaustion. Okay, because you could be burnt out in some areas and still be going and moving, but mental exhaustion is completely different. So, let me give you some of the symptoms of mental exhaustion, which they went into briefly, but I want to elaborate a little bit more. And this was me this morning. That's why it's just so funny. It says tiredness when you wake up in the morning, to a deep sense of apathy about work, friendships, and life, inability to focus, even sense of hopelessness. Now, it's funny because that kind of sounds like how depression is. When you're depressed, you have these feelings and emotions. You don't want to do anything, don't want to go anywhere, don't want to be out in the light, don't want to be around friends, people, places, things irritate you. Everything just seems like it's extra. Like the little bit that you do, it just seems like it's a lot, okay? Like it requires so much, okay? It gives us some emotional symptoms of related to mental exhaustion, okay? So lack of motivation, languishing or lack of purpose in life. That was very interesting to see. Moodiness and irritability, getting easily annoyed with others, doubt, pessimism. You can feel like something bad is about to happen. And I think that relates to the fact that when you are mentally exhausted, your thoughts and mind is just going like a wave, and you're not necessarily thinking on the most positive wavelength. So you can feel like, okay, this is going to happen and that is going to happen. And it puts you into what I want to say like hypervigilance, where you are trying to keep everything together and keep it all fixed so that nothing bad does happen. Okay. And it also said feeling overwhelmed or stressed. And that's what I actually just detailed, okay? And then it can lead into depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. So mental exhaustion is not the same thing as depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. Mental exhaustion can lead into those places, which I think is very interesting because the mind, if you're on a track in a field, you haven't trained yourself to go the distance. Sometimes so many of us are pushing ourselves and doing so much, even though we're so tired, and then the mind just flatlines. It just becomes tired, but you keep going. You keep putting more into your mind. More information from social media, more information about the news, helping your friends, being here and doing this and doing that, okay? That will make you exhausted. Now, the emotional symptoms and the physical symptoms are completely different. Those are two different things, okay? So the physical symptoms said fatigue or exhaustion, even after a full night's rest. That was me, okay? Sleep disturbances and changing in pattern, headaches, body aches, muscle tension, change in appetite. I'm definitely there. I'm like, I had some food yesterday. I said, this food it's not even good. It's not even palatable. It didn't even taste right. Stomach issues, unexplained or frequent colds, high blood pressure or irritabilities and heart rate. Isn't that crazy how mental exhaustion can make you have all these issues? Now, when you're tired, I don't know if anybody has ever felt like they were about to get sick, like you feel like you're about to be sick, but you haven't got sick yet. And then as soon as you start thinking like, I'm about to get a cold, then you get it. Okay. So the mind is not even at a place where it's able to gird itself for positive outcomes in your health. It just affects so many things. Okay. Now it goes into the behavioral symptoms. Okay. So yes, I did diagnose myself because I know I'm mentally exhausted. Okay. But it's because I have a lot of these things going on. Okay. Inability to sit still, difficulty relaxing. Okay. I'll be sitting there and I'm just like, okay, something got to get done. So I'll jump up and start doing it. I won't even let myself just breathe for a second. Okay. Forgetfulness, trouble concentrating, reduced focus, procrastinating. Isolating oneself from others. Now, I said that I'm at this point in consecration, but I think I really am isolating myself just a little bit because it's like I always end up talking to people that have a lot going on. And then that counselor in me kicks in and I want to start walking with them through their life. And so right now, I guess I could be isolated just a little bit. A sense of going through motions, lashing out at friends, coworkers, or loved ones, self-medicating through use of alcohol, drugs, and other things like video games, excessive work and physical activity. You can have exhaustion at work and trouble completing tasks, out of character lifestyle changes like increased risk taking behavior. Okay, so this is like if you're on the opposite end and you just enjoying the risk of life, but you're not even thinking about it. Okay, some of the side effects of being mentally exhausted. This is probably where I find myself trying to prevent myself from having so many side effects, as far as difficulties in relationship, inability to follow complex ideas of resolved challenges, reduced self-efficacy, feelings of disconnection and isolation, taking more time off work or missing social events, depression or anxiety. It did detail that. Missed opportunities, reduced resilience, lack of follow-through, decreased satisfaction, affected decision-making and long-term planning capacity, decreased physical health, and a lack of fatigue management. Okay. All of that. Can you believe that? Can you believe that all of that could come from mental exhaustion? So, what if the problem with some people is not that they're depressed, it's not that they're anxious, they're just mentally exhausted. They just either have taken in too much bad news or have not let some of the bad news be processed out of them. Depression. What if they're looking at the news and it's talking about a recession is coming and we see food prices climbing, right? Anxiety. Mental exhaustion affects so many different areas of a person's life. And it says mental exhaustion can be caused by many things. So I think that after COVID or during COVID, a lot of people experience just mental exhaustion, but as we are coming out of it, I haven't heard as many cases or a lot going on about COVID. I said that there is still an issue because even though we've come out of COVID, the mind got sick during COVID. And so I guess maybe this is like, it's so important to me because I think that COVID, if there were mental issues, I think that people that came out of it probably had it times two. Meaning that if you were depressed, if you didn't get help during the pandemic, maybe you're extra depressed. Maybe you feel lost. Maybe you feel hopeless. I mean, we did see and hear of a lot of people, casualties and people dying. So that affects you a lot. Okay. So I myself am not talking to you as a person that is not mentally exhausted. I am. But I still have life. I still have a child to take care of. I still have things that I am working on. And I still have a relationship with God that needs to be tended to. Sometimes you get so tired, you could feel like your relationship with God is a task. I felt like that today. Like, wow, all it is you want me to do. Or, do this or do that. I just kind of felt like I was more like an animal being driven, right? And I know they said that we're like sheep led to the slaughter, but it was really bad this morning. Okay, so I definitely want to use this as a moment of transparency, honesty, authenticity to help someone else. No, you're not crazy. That's the first thing that I'm going to tell you. You're not crazy for how you feel. You have to be honest with yourself and assess why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Okay? So let's go into the 7 common causes of mental and emotional exhaustion. I think it's interesting that it says emotional exhaustion too, because oftentimes we find that when you're mentally exhausted, your emotions are all over the place. You can cry hysterically. You can explode. You can have mood swings. All of that can be caused from mental exhaustion. So common causes says chronic stress, and it says it keeps your brain and body on alert. Okay, when you're always stressed. Uncertainty, and this is so interesting. It said unfortunately, uncertainty has become far too normal or a feeling since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. This has made mental exhaustion more common than ever. I didn't even read that. I just saw that, but that's good that that's in there. Work stress. Stress at work can take many forms. It can arise from mismatched values and things like that. Family issues. I know that when a lot of people passed during COVID, it did cause a lot of family stress. Even at the time, people were not even able to get their loved ones buried. And then the cost of funeral services was so high because of what was going on. Family issues, issues with kids, caregivers, sick relatives, aging parents. It's mentally taxing. Juggling multiple commitments, okay? Having several social media pages, juggling multiple commitments, okay? Emotional stress, poor self-care. Without gas in your tank, you won't get very far. When you get busy or you're feeling a bit down, it is easy to neglect self-care. However, over time, this will affect your ability to be resilient in the face of stressful situations. So I can understand that because, and I'm going to go this route because I have experienced homelessness or transiency. So I will say this. One of the things that was really important to me as I was going through my phase was making sure I stayed clean. No matter what was going on or where I was moving, being clean was very important to me. And I'll tell you why. Because when you see a lot of homeless people and they're not able to refresh themselves or get clean, it weighs on them. It's like wherever they're sleeping, if they're sleeping under a bridge or wherever, it's like the dirt and debris just lays on them, but it's also laying on their mind. And so I know for me, when I get up in the mornings and I take a shower or I decide to refresh, however I decide to, whether it's bath or shower, I just feel like refreshed and alive. Like it's amazing what water can do for you, even if you're not drinking it. If you are drinking it, but even if just getting in the tub and taking care of yourself. Now, it says that mental exhaustion is unique from other conditions. And I believe it. Stress versus mental exhaustion, depression is different from depression, physical exhaustion, burnout. So it gives us these 4 different categories. And most people think that this is what's wrong with them, but mentally they're just tired. Depression, it talks about being a mood disorder, okay? But it's completely different. And that's why I'm kind of grateful that I have come to this point, because I love researching and looking up things to see. And so now you can understand why I'm calling today Flex Down Friday. Because in the world, the week starts on Monday for some. I know that the Sabbath is actually on Saturday and the first day of the week is Sunday. But most people start their week on Monday. People start going to work on Monday, okay? But you can feel it on Monday when the rush and the hustle and bustle comes in and you got to take the kids to school. You got to get off to work. It's so many things that you have to do that are required of you, okay? And so what happens is by Friday, to keep up that schedule of consistency, even if it was just normal, let's just say that you didn't have anything that was out of place happen, like the car didn't break down or the groceries didn't come from Walmart when you ordered them. You are still exhausted by the end of the week. And so Saturdays, what I normally do is I just take that day to not do anything. I take that day. Actually, I'm not going to lie. My weekend starts on Friday. I remember when I used to work this job, I would work only Monday through Thursday, and I would have a 3-day weekend. No, I'm not. It didn't start Friday after 5. It started Thursday when I got off of work. Friday, I didn't go to work. Saturday, I didn't go to work. And Sunday, I didn't go to work. And sometimes it felt more extensive because then I wouldn't return back to work until Monday on 12. That was my long day. So I did all the heavy stuff at the beginning of the week to make it start being lighter towards the end. Okay? And so what happens is when you're mentally exhausted, it's like you want to get up, but you can't. And I don't even know how I got up to do this broadcast today. I knew that I was being mandated by God. So I'm like, let me go ahead and be obedient. But what I'm going to do is talking about it. People don't understand. People will look at you like, oh, I'm tired. They're like, what are you tired for? They don't understand. It's not so much of what's going on your outside circumstances. It's what's going on in here. Like many of you know, the brain is a muscle. And when you work it out, it needs a time. It needs a break. The most common problem is that the world says, and the world system says, go, 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 do, 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 do. Okay? But there comes a time in your life when you grow up and you mature and you understand the beauty of simply being. Like, we're not a human doing, we're a human being. Because when you're doing, your brain is being affected. You only have one brain. You can't get a surgery to remove your brain and put someone's in there. It's not like a heart surgery. It's not like, a kidney surgery. It's not the same thing. So we as people have to do what we can in order to take care of ourselves now to the most vital asset in our body, which is our heart and our brain. I mean, the other things, of course, they do matter because we wouldn't function without them, right? But we have to take care of ourselves. And so this is me coming on talking about one of my favorite subjects, the mind, the mind, the psyche, to give you what you need in order that you may thrive. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some strategies to overcome mental exhaustion. And then I got these nice little cards. I went to a group and they gave us these cards to use as exercises. And so I found one today. I'm going to share that with you. And then I'm also going to give you like a scripture reference. It was something that dropped in my heart as I was preparing to, I don't want to say teach, but talk about this lesson, okay? So we're going to do these 11 strategies for overcoming mental exhaustion. What I will do as well is I will put this link in the description underneath the video so that if you want to, you can go to it because this was lengthy. I think it's something that you need to take and digest and sit on it yourself. Me just rambling on about it, sometimes you get it, but sometimes you need to actually have the information with you. That way, if you decide to journal or go sit and meditate, you can have this as a reference point, okay? So, number 1, eliminate the stressors. So if you have a stressful job, I don't know how you'll do that. I mean, I'm the type of person, anytime I get stressed at my job, I'm out of there. People will tell you, they may look at it as chronic quitting. I look at it as chronic conservatism. Like I'm conserving myself, preservation, shall we say. Because there's no amount of money that can pay me to lose my mind. And so I'm very adamant about that. That goes into number 2, work-life balance. You have to know when it's time to stay and when it's time to go. That's just my mantra. It has been very beneficial as I've done it. I've climbed the pay grade at least by $10 or $15, actually $20 by quitting certain jobs, okay? Clear your space. I know so often when I'm going through, if I literally clean up or situation things or organize some things, I just feel so refreshed. It's like I can think clearly, I can see clearly, I want to start singing that song. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Number 4, schedule and take regular breaks. Okay. So if you're working, I remember I worked a job and they worked this all the way through. I was counseling 73 patients at a specific time and we didn't have a break. I said, this is not what we're going to do. We're going to get a break. Okay. And so what I would do is I would take a break. I would go outside. I would sit outside or I would walk around and just give myself that time to refresh. Now, that's just if you're at work, but if you're in life, sometimes you could take a break from social media. Sometimes you don't have to sit on there and gorge and hoard and, have gluttony, okay, as far as all the content that you're taking in. Sometimes you just have to take a break from social media. If you are someone that has a business through social media, maybe you can just go ahead and re-strategize how you are functioning. You might have to take a break from people. You may not be able to answer your phone as much. Some people want explanations as to why you're not answering your phone or take it personally. But it's just like, I need this mental break to not take anything in. I'm on overload. Get outside. I'm going to say that's probably one of my favorite things to do right now. Like me and my daughter, I think I take her to the park every day, if not every other day. And just seeing her happiness and her joy, it does something for me, because it's like, no, you can't go back to being a kid, but yes, there are things that you can do to make sure that young person inside of you is still refreshed, okay? Because like they say, life is life, and so there's always so many things that are going on. Just getting out for a minute, it just actually helps you to breathe, okay? Do something new. I'm good for that. I love creating. I'm gonna say just the when you are mentally exhausted, sometimes you can see that your capacity to create is not as sharp. But I know for me, I love trying to doing new things. I love artsy stuff and things like that. I'm actually looking for a new hobby as of right now. Okay. This is a good one. Number 7, it says reduce screen time. So you definitely want to do that. I don't know what it is about the screen that actually causes mental exhaustion, but I'm going to look it up because I want to know. Let's see, reducing screen time. And I don't know if it's because, I'm just going to take a stab at it. I think it's because the brain has, when it's going in, it has to process so much, just all the time. So maybe that's what it is. But it says giving your eyes, body, and brain a break from the screen can help mitigate digital fatigue and help you feel more energized. It says sometimes we could turn to a screen as a distraction or habit rather than a genuine interest or rest. Okay. And 8, find positive ways to distract yourself. Taking a walk, taking a hike, going to a show. I mean, there's so many things that you can do for free, It doesn't always have to cost. Take care of yourself. We definitely talked about that. Practicing self-care. Focus on what you can control. And I think that's half the time where mental exhaustion comes in, because there's so many things you can't control. You're just thinking about it. And it doesn't change anything, okay? So focus on what you can control. And number 11, it says talk to a coach or therapist. I myself am a strong advocate of talking to counselors. I have a counselor. I think it's great. We have an awesome relationship. It's very therapeutic, okay? For our scripture reference today, it is going to be Isaiah 40:31, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to 30. And it says, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young male shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint, okay? So when you're waiting, God will refresh you. Because I know for myself, I go through a lot of spiritual things. And so when I come out of something, normally I'm tired or exhausted. And so just sometimes waiting in the presence of the Lord, praying, praising, worshiping, reading your Bible. Sometimes I'll sit with prayers on. And I'll just bask. Like, I'll just allow the Lord and his spirit to wash over me. And I'll just communicate with him. And I'll be authentic. And I'll tell him how I feel. I will tell him if I'm hurt, if I'm angry, or I'm upset. And it just helps to get all that out. It's just like a purge. Okay? And so that was Isaiah 41, verse 30 through 31, okay? And then the last thing is write yourself a love letter. That's what I wanted you to do for an exercise. Write yourself a love letter. Have some compassion and grace on yourself to understand, yes, life is going on. You're doing the best that you can, and I don't want you to be too hard on yourself. So write yourself a love letter. Maybe you could share it with someone. Maybe you could start that as a journaling exercise, okay? I hope this was really helpful to someone. Please stay tuned. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And please remember to be gracious with yourself. Enjoy your time and your weekend. And just remember that you are loved and appreciated. Okay, guys, have a good one.